I can't believe they're standing.
Well, I was just sitting over here. Yeah, so if you don't mind.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just.
So I am. I'm watching. They're still got their.
So we're looking at the.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, keep us posted because, you know, we can just let you know time. But I think we can at least try to connect it again. No, I like your plan a lot.
Oh, your feet.
Here we go. Here we go. Graham, here we go.
Good evening. We are going to go ahead and get started with this press conference. Speaking tonight, we have Mayor Sean Riley, Chief Daniel Thompson, and Fire Chief Steve Howard.
Thank you. Sean Riley, Mayor, City of Waukesha. Today we experienced a horrible, senseless tragedy. I walked in the parade at the beginning. I saw all the happy children sitting on the curb. I saw all the happy parents behind their children. I can still see the smiling faces. A parade is a celebration for our community. Today our community faced horror and tragedy in what should have been a community celebration. I'm deeply saddened to know that so many in our community went to a parade but ended up dealing with injury and heartache. My heart goes out to all those affected by this senseless act. My heart goes out to those injured as well as to their families. My heart goes out to those who were witness to these events. My heart goes out to those who lost a loved one tonight. I want to thank all those who sprang into action tonight to provide help and comfort to those who were injured. I pray for all those that were injured that they recover. I pray for those who lost a loved one. Thank you to our police and fire departments as well as many others that have helped the city of Waukesha. There's other departments, the county, the state, the federal government has contacted me. They've all asked how they can help. I know that our first responders are also deeply affected by the events of today, and I pray for them and that they find healing and that everyone involved in this situation finds healing. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Today's tragic incident occurred on November 21st, 2021 at 4:39 p.m. at Gasper Avenue and Main Street. The Waukesha Christmas Parade was taking place when a red SUV drove through the barricades westbound heading down Main Street.
Can you speak up, please?
Yes, I can. The vehicle struck more than 20 individuals. Some of the individuals were children, and there were some fatalities as a result of this incident. We will not be releasing information on the fatalities at this time while we are working on notifying the family members of the deceased. An officer did discharge his weapon at the suspect vehicle to try to stop the vehicle. No bystanders were injured as a result of the weapon discharge. The officer involved has been with the department for 6.5 years. Victims were transferred by Waukesha Fire Department to the hospital. Chief Howard will speak on that. Police officers also transferred victims to the hospital, and family members also transferred victims from the scene to the hospital. We're no longer looking for a suspect vehicle. We do have a person of interest in custody at the moment, but this is still a very fluid investigation. I was present at this tragic event and saw firsthand the resiliency of the community coming together. I also want to thank all law enforcement partners, both federal, state DCI, State Patrol, Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, Brookfield Police Department, New Berlin Police Department, FBI, ATF, and all our other partners who responded to assist in this tragedy. It is unknown at this time whether the incident has any nexus to terrorism. To the families involved, you are in Waukesha Police Department thoughts and prayers. To the Waukesha community, the scene is now safe and secure. I'll take a few questions at this time.
Chief, just a minute. We're going to let Chief Howard speak about the victims.
Thank you. Sorry, no problem.
Thank you. I was just going to provide just some brief information regarding the patients that we transported. The city of Waukesha was actually part of the parade. We normally have an engine in the parade. As soon as the calls started coming in, we heard radio traffic and immediately responded from 5 of our stations. We activated our mass casualty protocols and used the MABUS box alarm system and activated a box to the second alarm. That means that we received assistance not only from our 5 fire stations with all personnel on duty, but from approximately 12 other fire departments. The City of Waukesha Fire Department and its partners in Mavis transported a total of 11 adults and 12 pediatric patients to 6 area hospitals. We do not have any specifics on the injuries at this time. All of the patients were transported. There were some fatalities. We do not have any detailed information on the fatalities at this time.
Just real quick, I'm sorry, Chief. I was going to say you didn't want to mention.
Okay. We'll open up for a few questions for all three. Mayor, police chief, or
How
fire
many
chief.
people were killed?
Out of respect for the family members, we still have to make notifications. So that number, and to be honest with you, the investigation is still fluid, so I don't have an exact number at this time to give you.
The marching band that you see in the video, what school was that? Those the marching band where the car drove through?
I couldn't even tell you what band was playing at that
Chief,
time.
a shelter-in-place alert was issued at 7:05. It said an all-clear would come. That has not come. Can you elaborate?
Yes, great question. So the reason why that shelter-in-place call came, because we're still doing a canvass, still ongoing crime scene. So we didn't want members of the community coming into the crime scene. So we wanted the members of the community to shelter in place. So that's why that alert went out.
So is that still in effect? Is that still in effect, Chief?
No, it is not.
Was there only one suspect in the car? Was that person struck by the officer who was fired?
That's still an ongoing investigation of how many are involved at this time. We're still working those details out.
Mayor, can you confirm that schools are closed tomorrow? Are all schools in Waukesha closed tomorrow?
That's it.
Chief, go ahead.
We do not know
Can't
at this
confirm
time.
that. One more
You said
question.
earlier that,
How long do you expect the streets to be closed?
excuse me, earlier you said you were unaware of any gunshots from the vehicle. We heard a lot about it on social media. Can you clarify right now that the suspect driving the car
At
did
this
not shoot
time,
a
we
firearm?
do not believe there's any shots that were fired from the vehicle. We believe that officers discharged a firearm to stop the vehicle.
What did the person of interest
Because the
say?
vehicle went through the barricade.
What did the person of interest say when you took them into custody?
That's still unknown at this time.
That's all the questions we're going to take right now. We will be putting more information. Any more information will come out in the city's social media accounts in regards to a further press conference or further information. That's all we can put out tonight at this time.
Chief, is this deliberate?
Can we talk about your first responders and what they saw when they were there?
Anything more tonight?
Chief, can we just ask you what your first responders saw?
Again, I will say that any more information or information about any further press conferences will be put out on the city's social media accounts. We just can't confirm when that will come out, but any more information will come out in the city's social media accounts.
Are the fatalities included in the 20+ injured, or is that on top of the injured?
Just in a few minutes.
months. If you're one of the approximately 100 million people in this country already eligible for a booster, our recommendation is that you get the extra protection afforded by a booster as soon as possible. They are widely available across the country and accessible. Thanks to the President's operational planning since August, over 32 million Americans already have their booster, and boosters are available at over 80,000 locations. Second, we're making strong progress protecting kids, with already 10% of 5 to 11-year-olds getting their first shot. Kids that have gotten vaccinated this week will be fully vaccinated by Christmas. And we're continuing to make a big push to reach parents and kids through visits to one of our 30,000 sites for kids by the First Lady, innovative partnerships with DC Comics, and a White House visit from Sarah earlier this week. Third, we've shipped over 250 million vaccines to the world, more than all countries combined, and made an announcement of a historic opportunity for mRNA manufacturers to receive funding and resources from the U.S. government to produce an additional 1 billion doses next year. Last, over 80% of 12 and older Americans have now gotten one shot. This is a huge number. We're continuing to push for more vaccinations. And finally, our view, and recent polling will show you that vax requirements work. And recent polling indicates 60% of companies are moving forward with a vaccine requirement, which is a big step forward. Just another little update of something happening here today. Today, first week in the job, our infrastructure implementation coordinator, Mitch Landrieu, and the 7 cabinet members and other agencies responsible for implementation, as outlined in the executive order, Departments of Commerce, Energy, Transportation, Labor, Interior, Agriculture, EPA, and OPM, held their first meeting. Also attending was Brian Deese, who's co-chairing the task force, senior staff from across the White House, Gina McCarthy, Susan Rice, Louisa Terrell, Evan Ryan, and Jason Miller. I have certainly invited him to speak to all of you, and he has conveyed to me he's putting his head down and getting to work as the President has asked him to do, but will be eager to speak to you probably sometime after Thanksgiving. Finally, one note, we gave a lengthy update, don't worry, I will not do that again, on supply chains yesterday. Today, we have new data from Freightos, a leading freight indicator that I just wanted to highlight, that shows shipping prices have declined by almost 25% over the past 2 weeks. Specifically, the price for shipping a container between China and the West Coast, which has declined for 2 straight weeks. And of course, this reduction in prices and shipping costs helps ensure that we are cutting costs for consumers as well. I guess last thing here is the week ahead. We did announce earlier this week that the President and First Lady will travel to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to celebrate Thanksgiving, or Friendsgiving, as some people call it, with service members and military families, thank them for their service as part of the Joining Forces initiative. That is on Monday. On Tuesday, the President, the First Lady, the Vice President, and second gentleman will participate in a service project in Washington, D.C., and later that day, the President and First Lady will travel to Nantucket, Massachusetts, where they will remain for the Thanksgiving holiday. Amr, why don't you kick us off?
Now that the bill has passed the House, can you talk a little bit about the game plan in the days and weeks ahead to get it through the Senate? And I guess in the media, does the President have plans talking today or over the weekend to Senators Manchin and Senator Sinema? And just if you could basically let us know what's the plan going forward to get this through to the end zone.
Well, the President is absolutely committed, of course, to getting this through the Senate, signing it into law, and ensuring these impacts, these cost-cutting measures are put in place into law as soon as possible. A number of these steps, including cutting child care costs, could have an impact early next year once we get this through the Senate. We have remained in touch, even as we've been working to get it through the House, at a high senior staff level, senior White House officials, with Senator Sinema, Senator Manchin, other members of the Senate, as we know that is the next important step here, and that will continue. And I'm sure the President will engage when is the right moment to do that with them as well. But I don't have anything to predict for you over the next couple of days.
The President announced today his intention to nominate 2 new members to the Postal Service Board of Governors. Is he looking to remove Postmaster DeJoy?
Well, let me first say we're, of course, deeply troubled, continue to be deeply troubled, as many Americans are, by the earlier reporting on Postmaster General DeJoy's potential financial conflicts of interest, and take serious issues with the job he's doing running the Postal Service. As you know, the President does not have the authority to fire the Postmaster General. It's ultimately up to the Board of Governors by majority. So what was announced today is the President's intention to nominate 2 leaders to the bipartisan United States Postal Service Board of Governors to replace outgoing Governors Ron Bloom and John Barger. Both Derek Kahn and Dan Tangerlini are experienced public servants. And certainly, again, just to reiterate, it's up to the board to make a determination about leadership, but we have continued concerns about Postmaster General's leadership. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask a few questions about oil. Has the U.S. heard back from China, Japan, South Korea, and India on a coordinated release of emergency stockpiles?
I don't have any update to provide to you today. I would reiterate for those who weren't following us as closely, we have been in touch with a range of officials and leaders from countries, including China, including other countries around the world that are oil producers, about ensuring there is adequate supply out there, but I don't have any update for today.
Okay. Is Biden considering using authority under a 2015 budget bill to declare an emergency and limit or stop exports of oil for up to a year?
We have a range of options at our disposal, but I don't have any new ones to introduce to all of you today.
Finally, I'm sorry, any message for OPEC ahead of its December 2nd meeting?
Well, our message continues to be privately as well as publicly, of course. It's always good when it's consistent and important that we want to ensure that the OPEC member countries and OPEC as an organization meets the demand needs that are out there with the adequate supply. That is something we've pressed them on in the past, and I don't have any new conversations privately to convey, but I'll see if there's more we can report to all of you about the meeting. Go ahead.
We know that the President was at Walter Reed earlier today. Can you provide an update on how the physical went and the colonoscopy as well, and what information will you be releasing?
We will have a comprehensive written summary that will be released to all of you later today as soon as it's finalized. I'm not going to get ahead of that. It's, of course, done by medical experts, which is as is appropriate, but we will release that out to all of you later this afternoon. As I noted in a tweet, I hate to reference that, but here we are. Earlier this morning, the President had a conversation with Vice President Harris, as well as Chief of Staff Ron Klain at around 11:35 this morning. He was in good spirits. He resumed his duties as President at that point in time. There was also 2 sets of letters that we released publicly. One was at 10:10 a.m., the other was at 11:35 a.m. About the transfer of power under the 25th Amendment and the resumption of power. But that's a reflection of how he is and how he is feeling.
And if I could, the vaccine mandate for the civilians